Hello everyone, my name is Iris France. Today we're going to talk about aggregate demand shelters. So we know that aggregate demand is equal to consumption plus investment plus government spending plus net export. So anything that is going to cause any of this component to increase is going to shift our aggregate demand curve to the right. And anything that lowers any of this component is going to cause our aggregate demand curve to shift to the left. Now, I will not be able to exhaust the list of the things that will cause, for example, our consumption to change. So I'm just going to list a few items and we'll leave you the rest for the textbook. So, what will cause our consumption to change? One is the consumer wealth. If your wealth level increase, then your spending power is going to increase. So you're going to increase your consumption. Now, consumer expectations is also important for our consumption. So for example, right now we have the COVID-19 and our consumers, we just don't feel very positive about the future. And therefore, if you're concerned about the future, if you're concerned, am I going to lose my job next month? Then you're going to cut back your consumption. So if your expectation of the future is kind of bad, then your consumption is going to go down. And investment. So think about firms. If you think, hey, in the future, probably economy is bad and not many people are going to buy my goods, then you're going to cut back your investment. Then your investment is going to go down, and that is going to shift your aggregate demand curve to the left, for example. And also technology. Technology improvement is going to cause our firms to become more productive. And therefore, if there's a technology improvement, that is going to cause investment to go up and shifting our aggregate demand curve to the right. And government spending. So if government spending increases, then that is going to shift our aggregate demand curve to the right. And if the government spending decreases, that's going to shift our aggregate demand curve to the left. And finally, net export. So we know that net export is a component of our aggregate demand. And therefore, if your net export increases, meaning if our export goes up and import goes down, that is going to shift our aggregate demand curve to the right. And if our export goes down but import goes up, that is going to shift our aggregate demand curve to the left. So what would affect our net export? One is exchange rate. So I have another video that talks about the relationship between exchange rate and net export. I want you to please go ahead and take a look at that. But for now, I will just tell you the bottom line is if the dollar is strong, meaning if the dollar appreciates, then that is going to lower our net export. But if our dollar is weak, meaning our dollar depreciates, that is going to increase our net export and shifting our aggregate demand curve to the right. And also national income award. So if foreigners are wealthy and they're doing very well economically, then they're going to purchase more of our goods. And that is going to increase our net export and shifting our aggregate demand curve to the right. But if foreigners are not doing so well and they are experiencing, for example, a recession, then they are not going to buy our goods, then that is going to lower our net export and shifting our aggregate demand curve to the left. And finally, notice they're dashed lines. Why is that? Here's the reason. For example, if the government spending increases, then that is going to increase our aggregate demand and it's going to shift it to the right, first to the purple dashed line. But because of multiplier effect, it is going to be shifting to the solid purple line eventually. Now when there is economic downturn, say because of COVID-19, we're not going out to buy goods and services, and that is going to trigger other firms not making money and laying off their workers, causing those workers not being able to buy goods and services. And that is going to cause other firms to start to lose money and lay off their workers. So you see the economy is in spiral downturn. That's also a multiplier effect. So if consumption goes down because of COVID-19, initially we're going to move to the red dashed line And because of multiplier effect, it's going to move all the way to the left to 83. So this is our aggregate demand shifters. I hope this helps. I'll see you next time.